I only have one point that I disagree with you on, and it has to do with foreign policy. I understand we're in debt. I understand that this nation is unbearably in debt. But how does that jive with us trying to be involved with the whole world? We have bases all over the place. We're involved in too many of the skirmishes, and our founding fathers warned us against this. I'm just wondering.
Well, thank you for that question, and you may find that you and I agree more than you believe. Let me talk about foreign policy generally and what our approach should be. In the Republican Party, there is a spectrum of views on foreign policy. On one end of the spectrum, you've got people like my friend, Senator Rand Paul. On another end of the spectrum, you've got people like Senator John McCain and Lindsey Graham and Marco Rubio. I would describe my views on foreign policy as a third point on the triangle. In my view on foreign policy, number one, America should always speak out in defense of freedom, that there is an incredible moral weight and gravity to the bully pulpit of the presidency. When Ronald Reagan stood up and said the Soviet Union is an evil empire, when he stood before the Brandenburg Gate and said, tear down this wall, those words, that clarity and truth transformed the globe. But when it comes to the use of military power, you and I are very much in agreement. America, historically, has always been reluctant to engage in military combat. It's worth remembering the biggest country Reagan ever invaded was Grenada. My view when it comes to foreign policy and military force is that the touchstone should always be the vital national security interest of the United States of America. If and when we need to engage in military conflict, it should begin with a clearly stated objective up front. We should use overwhelming force, and then we should get the heck out. That it is not the job of our military to transform foreign nations into democratic utopias. It is the job of our military to hunt down and kill those who seek to murder Americans. So let me give a specific example that puts meat on those bones. Let me use two different examples. The first is Syria. 2 years ago, when President Obama proposed launching a unilateral military attack against Bashar Assad in Syria. Initially, I kept an open mind to hear the president's justification. Why is this in our national security interests? No such justification ever came, and so I was one of the loudest, most vocal opponents opponents to allowing that military strike. Now, the reason was simple. Listen, Assad is a monster. He's murdered a couple 100,000 of his own citizens. But at the time, there were 9 major rebel groups. 7 of them had connections to radical Islamic terrorists. One of those rebel groups was ISIS. And the question I kept asking, well, if we topple Assad and the chemical weapons end up in the hands of radical Islamic terrorists who want to kill us, how is that any better for the United States of America? So I opposed military action against Syria, and that Rand Paul and I were on the same page. Both of us opposed it, although our reasoning, the way we got there, was a little bit different. Now let's take a second example, which is Iran. I think the single greatest national security threat facing America today is the threat of Iran acquiring nuclear weapons. And the reason is simple. If you listen to the Ayatollah Khamenei, the radical mullahs and theocratic zealots who lead Iran, they have pledged to annihilate Israel. The Ayatollah, in the midst of negotiations with the Obama administration, leads the masses in chanting, "Death to America." If history teaches anything, it is that if somebody tells you they want to kill you, believe them. So I think with Iran, we need to do everything humanly possible to prevent them from acquiring the weapons of ultimate destruction, because those theocratic zealots, particularly because they embrace death and suicide, I think it is an unacceptable risk. If they had a nuclear weapon, they would use that weapon either against the United States or our allies. Now that means we should use sanctions, we should use every tool we have up to, and if necessary, military force. But even that, the objective should be to take out their nuclear capacity and then get the heck out. We shouldn't be trying to turn Iran or Iraq or any other country into Switzerland. We should be protecting the United States of America.